Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Thursday, the 9th day of November, 2023, Thursday of the 31st week of the year, the 31st week in Ordinary Time. Today is also the day in which we celebrate the great feast of the dedication of the Basilica of St. John in the Lateran in Rome. A very interesting kind of feast to celebrate because while we celebrate Jesus and Mary and Joseph and the saints and other kinds of things that involve elements of the faith, body and blood of Christ, Pentecost, Holy Trinity, those kinds of things like that. Rare is it that we celebrate a dedication of a building, which is what today is celebrating. We also will celebrate the dedication of St. Mary Major. We never ever celebrate, though, the dedication of the Basilica of St. Peter in Rome. And that's because it gets folded into the solemnity of St. Peter and Paul at the end of June. But today we celebrate this. We celebrate St. Mary Major because it holds a special place, and when we come to that, we'll come to that. But why St. John Lateran? Why St. John Lateran? Well, again, if you've ever been to Rome, St. John Lateran. And so to celebrate this great feast day, I'm here in Memorial Garden because, again, it is November, where we remember the deceased, all of those who have died in the faith and have gone on to glory with God. So it's good to have a filming of reflection here, but it's also, you can see behind me, our church. And so because we're looking at churches, and today, and that's what we're doing. If you've been to Rome, the Lateran, St. John Lateran is in, as you can see, well, it's St. John the Baptist, sometimes it's St. John the Evangelist. It kind of goes back and forth. And again, the Lateran was a section of ancient Rome where cavalry barracks were, supposedly. And then this is land that is given to the Christians to build a church on. Not a great piece of land, but it becomes a place for a great church. It's in the southeast corner of the city of Rome, if you're looking at a map, the city of Rome. It is not very frequented by people, except, on different kinds of tourist stops and stuff like that. It is not crowded. There are no lines. There is no security. There is nothing like you would find at St. Peter's. There are popes who are buried in the Lateran, and it also has a tremendous history, which is perhaps even a little bit greater than St. Peter's. I personally like John Lateran much better than St. Peter's. I find people at St. Peter's very rude. But anyway, the thing about it is, again, that the church was the first building, first official church that was built in the city of Rome once Christianity becomes legalized. And because of that, it holds this special place, and it is known by a plaque on its front as the mother of all churches. In fact, the mother of, the mother church of all Christianity, as being and I know it wasn't the first church that was built. It wasn't the first place of worship, because that would have happened in homes and other kinds of places. But it is the first officially designated place. And for centuries, it was also the residence of the bishops of Rome, aka the popes. They moved to St. Peter's as kind of a permanent residence in the late Middle Ages, early Middle period. And then after that, it becomes, St. Peter's becomes the residence when Vatican City is all that's left of the great papal estates, the great papal empire that was built during the Middle Ages. So enough little history. But we celebrate today this building because, again, buildings shape us. They shape who and what we are. They shape what it is that we are to become. Our use in them helps to identify us, helps us to recognize more who we are and what we're called to do and what we're called to be in this world. And particularly those buildings that are set aside as places of worship, as places for us to gather, as places where we may see and experience the God who gathers us and who loves us and who nurtures us in community with one another. That's why these buildings have a pride of place. That's why these buildings matter, to us. And so we celebrate the first of those buildings, that will become more and more places in which we gathered. Prior to that, it's always interesting. In the Greco-Roman world, there was some ritual that happened in temples, but temples were places where basically people individually went to offer sacrifice. They were tended, as the abode of the gods when the gods left Earth, or when the gods left their heavenly abode and came to earth and things like that. But they were not necessarily great assembly places. And because most of the temple was taken up by a gigantic statue of whatever god or goddess the temple was dedicated to. So these gathering spaces were built for people. And that's always important. They're not meant to encapsulate God or to keep God captive or to put God into a proper place that's separate from everything else. They are built for us to be able to gather and to be able to understand who and what we are called to be as believers, which is why care needs to be taken in their construction. Care needs to be taken in what they become. Care needs to be taken in how they are used. Care needs to be taken in how things fit together and how things are placed together within these buildings. They are not just vacant halls, for us to occupy, to do one or two little things in them. They are places that shape and nurture us, places in which we are edified, and places in which we can return praise to God who builds us up and who creates us into the people that we are called to be. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.